Hello and welcome to School at Home. Today's School at Home is brought to you by vitamin water. Drink vitamin water. It's really healthy for you and not full of sugar at all. Just kidding. Anyway, today what we're going to do is we're going to talk a little bit about the Revolutionary War again. All right, so last week you guys did a little bit of this, but nobody really did that well on the ReadWorks articles. So we're going to go back and talk about it again and this time I'm going to read everything to you and talk about it so it makes a little sense. So let's jump in. Here we have the mother country and the colonies, right? The mother country is England. That is the country that is governing. Here's King George. I'm governing all of you. Yes, okay, and here are the 13 colonies here in red. And this is a little patriot colonist guy that I found. So, okay. So just so you remember, we have England over here, and they have settled. They've sent a whole bunch of ships and people over, and now they've made 13 colonies, okay? So now we're going to jump into the reading. All right. Revolutionary War. April 19th, 1775 marked the end of an era. At dawn that day, British troops fired on American colonists in Lexington and Concord, Massachusetts. This was the beginning of the American Revolution. The war started as a fight for the rights of English people in Britain's 13 American colonies. But those people soon declared and won their independence from Britain. They created a new nation, the United States of America. Now, notice it says they won their independence, right? When you think about the 4th of July, sometimes people call the 4th of July Independence Day because it is the day that we became independent from Britain's government. That's what this fight is all about. It's all about getting away from King George and his government, right? It's about saying no more of this. We are going to do our own thing over here. We don't need you, King George. Goodbye. So, the founders. Okay, this is just a little background information. Many people made American independence possible. A group of them are known as the founders of the United States. The best known are George Washington, John Adams, Thomas Jefferson. Those three happen to be the first three presidents of the United States. Benjamin Franklin, not a president, and Alexander Hamilton. Now, those are just some of the major people. George Washington led the American military forces, the Continental Army, to victory over the British. He later became the first president of the United States. John Adams was the strongest supporter of American independence. He became the first vice president of the United States and its second president. Thomas Jefferson wrote the Americans' Declaration of Independence. He became the nation's third president. Now, you may have heard of the Declaration of Independence, and what it is actually a paper that says, "Hey, King George." What is it? Yes, what is it? Guess what? We declare independence from you. We no longer want to hang out with you. Bye. Okay, that is literally what they're doing. They're declaring, hey, you no longer can govern us. Benjamin Franklin was the oldest of the founders. He was 70 when the Declaration of Independence was signed. Franklin helped get France to become an ally of the United States. Okay, so Franklin helped France to become friends with the United States, to become an ally, to become buddies. Both during and after the Revolution, Alexander Hamilton urged Americans to form a stronger union of the states. Okay, so those are some of the important people. Now let's talk about the events leading to the Revolution. Britain established its first colony in North America in 1607. Okay, so now this is before this. This is This is people coming over on ships and establishing a colony. King George is still ruling over them. They're still part of Britain's government. This is nothing bad has happened yet. By the early 1760s, there were 13 colonies. Okay, so this is like, 1600 to 1700. This is over 100 years now. People living there, building communities, families, everything. Now it's 1760s and there's 13 colonies. These were Connecticut, Delaware, Georgia, Maryland, Massachusetts, New Hampshire, New Jersey, Nuevo York, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, South Carolina, and Virginia. About 1.5 million colonists lived there. Okay, were there 1.5 million people when they came here and first established this colony in 1607? No. But by this time, by the 1760s, there are about 1.5 million colonists. The colonies were far away from Britain, and they were used to running their own affairs. Each had its own assembly. They ran the everyday business of the colonies and collected taxes. Britain rarely taxed the Americans. Okay, so if you can picture it, right, it's you finally, you leave home, okay? Bye, Mom and Dad, see you later. And you go and you live far away. Now, you are used to making your own rules at this point, and Mom and Dad don't really have that much more of a say, okay? They're not really doing too much anymore. You don't have to answer to them. You can come and go whenever you want in your house. You can hang out as late as you want, go do whatever you want with your friends, stay up, play video games, right? And your mom and dad aren't there to tell you yes, no, whatever. And you and your friends hang out and you figure things out for yourself, right? And you take care of yourself, you figure out what you have to be responsible for, etc. And your parents, they don't interfere too much, but they're still your parents, right? So, the French and Indian War in 1754 to 1763 changed that situation, okay? So it changed the situation where everything's fine, we're doing our own thing over here, King George pretty much leaves us alone, we don't have any problems, right? In other words, you're cool, your parents are cool, you don't have any problems, everything's good. Britain won the war against France. Okay, this is the French and Indian War. The French and Native Americans were fighting against Britain. Now, Britain won the war against France, but the war was costly and Britain owed a lot of money. Britain also needed money to keep up its army in North America. The British government therefore decided to tax the Americans. In other words, you're hanging out over here with your besties and everything's fine, right? Let's give him another friend. Here's another friend. Okay, you're hanging out over here. Let's get one more. Threes never work. Somebody always gangs up on everybody else. All right, here, we've got friends over here and everything is fine and we're all doing our thing. And then all of a sudden, Mom and Dad come back and say, hey, by the way, I know you're doing your thing, but guess what? You're going to start sending us some money now, okay? And you're also going to have to check in with us every night when you get home, and you're going to have to pay us allowance. I don't know. Okay, so that's the situation, right? The war happens, and King George needs money, so he goes, boom, I'm going to ask you guys for money. Now, let's stop there.